Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy with Colby Marshall. And if you're looking for the Marshall Plan, you're looking in the wrong place because it's changed. After an extensive online search, our branding officers have figured out that it should be Marshall Law, and that's what it's going to be. And last week, Mr. Marshall went through the Western Conference teams, the best acquisitions in each team, and we're going to skip the pleasantries and the hellos, Colby, and get right to it. The Eastern Conference, Nola Nates, Nola Gold, their key acquisition in the offseason. Go ahead.
Without a doubt, Damian Stevens highlights their offseason acquisitions. At 25 years old, he's a guy that can not only man the scrum half position, but also kick for points and play out on the wing.
I like it. Now, let's go east, and we'll go east and south. We'll go to Atlanta, where the Rattlers are rattling around in their nice little stadium. What do you got for Atlanta?
Yeah, for Atlanta, they drafted Mike Matarazzo, 8th overall. He's a guy that I got to play against 2 years ago. Obviously, his size is an aspect of his game that stands out, but apparently he's already making an impression with the Rugby ATL coaching staff. They're raving about his biomechanics screening test, and by the way he moves, they're kind of likening him to an international player. So he's a young guy to look out for Rugby ATL.
All right, nice work. Let's stay in Atlanta with our friends from the north that are sunning in Atlanta, the Atlanta Arrows, a.k.a. the Toronto Arrows.
Yeah, and they're bringing in Ross Broad, South African player who has Canadian eligibility through his father. At 20 years old, he's a scrum half. He's probably going to play behind Andrew Ferguson, who started in every game for the Arrows last year. But nonetheless, if you're following the Arrows, Ross Broad, he's a fun player to look out for.
And you can never have too many nines. Let's stay on the East Coast, going north geographically to Old Glory in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, and for Old Glory, they're bringing in a very dynamic back rower in Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell's a guy that had a season with the Toronto Arrows in 2019. He helped them to a playoff appearance, eventually losing to the champion Seattle Seawolves. But Luke Campbell, he's a guy that's going to fit right into a DC back row that's really coming into its own for the upcoming season.
And when he's banging heads with the likes of Bryce Campbell, there's going to be a lot of soup spilled. Think about that one, folks. Going north even more, right to our neck of the woods, Rugby United New York. Hit me with it, baby.
Yeah, and for Rugby United New York, they're bringing in Andy Ellis. And first and foremost, I got to commend Andy Ellis. He's 37 years old. He was contemplating retirement before signing with Rooney. But he's a guy that has 28 total appearances for the All Blacks and most recently played with the Quebeco Steelers in Japan. But why I love this signing for Rooney is specifically for Connor McManus and Connor Buckley. They're two young, promising scrum halves that they picked up around the time of the MLR draft. And it'll be really fun to see how they learn, what they learn, and how they grow with a guy like Andy Ellis on the squad.
All right, Colby, let's go north to Boston, that rivalry for New York sports that is unsurpassed, to the New England Free Jacks.
For the New England Free Jacks, Zandre Voss, I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but he's a loose head prop that I want to look out for with them. He's expected to contribute right away in the scrum, but also as a ball carrier in the open field.
And we'd go north to Toronto, but we were already with Toronto in Atlanta, so that wraps that up. But Colby, before I let you go, which one of those acquisitions is the most impressive as far as you're concerned?
Well, as far as most impressive, I think I have to look at Rugby United New York and appreciate what they did with bringing in Andy Ellis. They didn't have any draft picks. They traded their draft picks. What they did was really smart. They brought in Andy Ellis, signed Connor Buckley, signed Connor McManus, and I really like what they're building in New York right now.
Yeah, well, we're beating the Andy Ellis horse to death right now, but with good reason. And it's no coincidence that he's on our show this week. Thank you, Mr. Colby Marshall with Marshall Law. On behalf of Colby, I'm Matt McCarthy. Make sure you check out our MLR show with Dan Power and Steve Lewis and a mystery guest, a biggie, and also the Zack Attack. And please join our American Red Cross Rugby Wrap-Up Blood Donor Team. I know Dan and Steve are going to be signing up because they too want to save 3 lives. On behalf of all these folks, Matt McCarthy for Rugby Wrap-Up, keep that mouse pad close by.